Hey, and benvenidos. Welcome back to Tech and Tequila, the podcast where tech innovation meets bold living and smooth sipping. Except today, we're swapping tequila for something a little more energizing. That's right, today's sip is going to be Gorgie, the clean energy drink that's fueling digital nomads and go-getters across the globe, because sometimes the hustle needs a spark before happy hour hits. And definitely before you hit the gym, that's for sure. I'm your host, Kat Lopez-Shelby, your go-to techie chica, trusted tech advisor, digital nomad, or what I like to say, local voyager, and of course, proud Latina entrepreneur. And today's episode is something special. We are diving deep into the digital nomad lifestyle, how to get started, how to stay grounded while on the move, and how to keep your mindset sharp, your tech stack tighter than your parking cubes. Parking cubes. That's a strange way to say that, huh? Our parking spots. Just for the record, my son would tell you I cannot parallel park to save my life, even when I had an itty bitty Volkswagen Bug. But I digress. And of course, I'm super blessed today because I am not flying solo. I am joined by the amazing Dr. Jenna W. Clack, who is the mindset guru, business, everything, amazing person. She's a business strategist. She is the co-creator of #YourDigitalBliss and one of the most, I will say, expansive and abundant women that I know. She helps female entrepreneurs cut through the noise, find clarity, and live the life fully on their own terms. All right. So, of course, whether you're dreaming about your first remote work trip or already collecting passport stamps like Starbucks points, this episode is your permission to make it happen. So let's get into it. Now, before we get into it, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsor, #YourDigitalBliss, and we're going to give you a little more information about the amazing upcoming event, National Petroleum Day. Are you craving freedom, flexibility, and a life on your terms? Well, welcome to #YourDigitalBliss, the ultimate course for digital dreamers, road warriors, local voyagers, and world wonders, and anyone who is a bold business builder ready to thrive and work in life. I'm Kat Lopez-Shelby, your techie chica and trusted tech advisor, and I have teamed up with Dr. Jenna W. Clack, a mindset coach and all-around amazing world wonder, to bring you a powerful blend of technology, strategy, and soul. We'll get your tech stack tight. Dr. Jenna helps you rewire your mindset for confidence, clarity, and calm, and together we help you create systems that support your success, not your stress. Whether you're ready to take your business on the road or just want to build a life with more intention and less burnout, this course is your launch pad. This is your time, your tools, your transformation to say goodbye to what is not serving you and hello to your digital bliss. To learn more and enroll now, of course, go to Your Digital Bliss on Instagram and let us get your tech and your mind working towards freedom. Welcome back to Tech and Tequila, where bold moves, innovative tech, and good tequila come together to spark big conversations. And today, I wanted to take a moment to spotlight something that's not just important to me, but is a huge part of the community's DNA in West Texas. And that is National Petroleum Day is coming up. And it's coming to the Permian Basin on August the 27th. Midland is proud to host the first ever official celebration of its kind right here in the energy capital of the world. Whether you grew up with the oil-filled boots at your door or you're just beginning to understand the energy sector's impact in our everyday lives, this event is for you. At the heart of this celebration is innovation, connection, and honoring the legacy that built this region. From 6 to 10 p.m., they're going to have a in-person live event at the Petroleum Club of Midland, where gathering industry leaders, future forward thinkers, and local legends for an unforgettable evening. There'll be networking with everybody in oil and gas, a spotlight on women energy across the Permian Basin, insights on sustainability and where tech meets tradition. And yes, there will be lots of people there. And of course, scholarships, opportunities, and exhibitions for our next generation of petroleum engineers and anyone that's in the petroleum energy. Proceeds for this event go toward funding scholarships for students pursuing petroleum engineering and energy related careers. So when you show up, you're not just celebrating the past, you are investing in the energy's future. So whether you're local to West Texas or this is just an opportunity to go down and check it out, this is your chance to connect with the community and celebrate with the people and the power behind the Permian Basin. So go grab your tickets and learn more at nationalpetroleumday.com. That's nationalpetroleumday.com. Hey, whether you're wearing some steel-toed boots or stilettos, come ready to celebrate, and I will see you there. Okay, now normally on Tech and Tequila, we are tasting tequila, but I thought because today was going to be a little out of the norm, we would do something a little different. So today we are going to be highlighting Gorgie. I know you've probably been seeing this. Let me see if you can see this. Can you see it on here? I know you've probably been seeing this pop up on your Insta feeds and just about everywhere under the sun, like constantly and consistently. But yes, it is a brand new clean energy drink. So Jenna, you can give me your opinion later, but we'll go through this. So I will tell you that one of the things that I do like about Gorgie is it doesn't have any of the additives that sometimes are what's called migraine inducing. And so that's one of the positives. But of course, let me hit the 5 things that most people talk about. And that is number 1, for those who need it. I definitely need it in the mornings. It has 200 milligrams of clean caffeine. So same kick as a good strong cup of coffee, but from green tea extract. So no crash, no jitters, just get yourself going. There's no added sugar, so no weird aftertaste. It's all flavor. It has L-theanine and biotin for clarity, calm, focus, and a little bit of a beauty boost because I don't know about yourself, but I want to be glowing. I wish y'all could see my shirt because it says glowing with pride, but it keeps blurring itself out. So anyways, and of course it's vegan and gluten-free because good fuel should be for everyone. So you shouldn't have to decide, I want to have a little pick-me-up or do I want to be living the lifestyle that I've chosen? And of course, you know, as a Latina woman founder, this is super important to me, but it is woman founded. So you know that it is built by women for women, period. So if you have been on the hunt for an energy drink that won't make your eye twitch halfway through your to-do list or make you all jittery and shaky, Gorgie is probably going to be your new fave. Now, I have the sparkling pink lemonade. I've had a couple of the other ones and I did like them. This one does really, really just taste like a sparkling lemonade. I definitely like it. It's very clean. And what I really like about this one, because I'm not going to lie, I had it last night before I went to the gym, is that it's kind of has that like tarty lemonade taste, but it's not too crazy. And it's definitely very crisp. It has a good sparkle to it. So cheers to that. And it doesn't have a weird aftertaste. So I love this. I think it's perfect for, you know, a pre-client boost call, a mid-hike recharge, or let's say just setting yourself up for success. But so if you're out and about, you can get Gorgie. I would say most places, but I know for sure you can get it at Target if you're choosing to shop there. You can also get it at Sprouts and just go onto their website and look online. So there we go. This is our tasting for the day. We are recording this, of course, at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is definitely like where Jenna is at. It's not 10 o'clock. So we could have had a couple shots of tequila, but I am ready to go. I'm energized. I'm hydrated. And I am beyond excited to start this conversation, of course, with Dr. Jenna W. Clack. So Jenna's been on the podcast. She's definitely a friend of the pod. But if you don't know, I'm going to give Jenna a chance to kind of give her background, talk about what she does, because I think saying that you're a business and mindset coach is just not as encompassing as really what you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Kat. It is a little bit big what the full purpose that we put behind quantum lifestyle guidance to be. I really started with looking at the quality of life experience that people were having when I was working in a wellness pharmacy when I was 18 and working with bioidentical hormones. So I saw how related our well-being, our mindset, our surroundings, the support that we got, and how precision your specific support is, how that can really create a full lifestyle. So I started in hormones, and to be honest with you, I've always started in lifestyle. I looked around and thought, why are we not just all doing more of what we want to? Let's stay in this zone of extra excited, the weirdo zone of being extra excited and full and fulfilled in life, and just really in love. And that is where anti-aging and regenerative medicine kind of reinforces this whole thought process. So it's mindset and business because it's part of your lifestyle that's allowing you to live most fully. There's not one piece that makes you whole. It's all of the pieces that make you whole. So in quantum lifestyle consulting, what I'm doing is I'm taking all of these years, 11 plus years of specialized knowledge, over 20 years of consulting knowledge directly related to bioidenticals, nutritional supplementation, and functional lifestyle medicine. And I'm also applying that to the truth that we are living as part of a whole, and that interacting functionally with that whole can be measured, which is a quantum thought process. You can measure it how you desire. So what you envision, you can then intuitively, with your hormones, with the way that you're interacting, your mindset, you can intuitively then produce. That means you can create the lifestyle that you truly desire. And I think a lot of times we are talked out of that or back down from that, or said, since these are the things you can't control, there are no things you can control. So what I really do is plug in all of the specialized natural biology and organic chemistry into a digestible, truthful conversation about what is functional for you in your life that doesn't just give you one of your life goal aspects, it gives you all of them.
I love that explanation because first off, it's definitely more robust than saying I'm a business and life coach or whatever it is. It goes more in depth to understand, like, I would say at the cellular level, like how to really, really effectuate change. And, today's episode is going to have a section about digital nomads, which we're going to cover here in a minute. And then we're going to go into a mindset moment, which I think you and I both have experienced a lot. So I think that's going to be great. But one of the most commonly asked questions that I'm sure you get, that you hear, is how do I even get started? And I know in general, my answer is, well, get started. That's how you get started. Like, you decide that this is a lifestyle that you want. This is a lifestyle that you can create. And you kind of start taking steps towards that. But how do you answer that question?
It'll be the most annoying thing to people who have coached with me because they know I'm right and it's worked. And it'll be something that seems a little surface level until you try to do it for yourself. And the real way that you start is you identify and get clear awareness on your true motivation for wanting to go this direction. So choosing your values and understanding why you really want to do this in a way that connects with your excitement and with your intention to be inspired in movement. So you'll actually do something, because you can say do something. I hear that. And what causes you to do something in inspired action is a value that bubbles over, right? So getting really clear on what your motivation is so that you know you're reaching towards something you want. If you're not sure, you're not going to reach, right? I think the next thing would be to identify what skills you have that you want to utilize or that are transferable. All math and science patterns are transferable. All art, creative sciences are transferable in how you utilize them. So sometimes we get caught in, oh, this is what I'm doing and I can't see the other thing that I would do. So I think just listing out, could I coach? Could I do content? Could I educate? could I be in a situation I haven't thought of before? What are my skill sets? So it's really knowing yourself to get started. You know your values, you get really clear on that. And then you kind of list out your skill sets. And then you just align that with the lifestyle that you're hoping to live in your today life. We do have great resources at your Digital Bliss to put these things into action, because there is a hesitation part of success that can be shortened when you have a resource to help you line it out. I do think that creating those first motivating steps are going to allow you to create the messy action, the inspired action to go forward. And that would be the most important thing, is to clarity there first.
I love it. There's something that you talked about that I wanted to just pick out for a second. And that was talking about making a list of your skill sets, because I think that so many people take for granted, number one, that you have a set of skills. And I would say number two, the second thing to that is that it's a skill. It's something that you can develop. Like if tomorrow you say, and not that everyone needs to be a content creator or UCG or an influencer or whatever, but you say, I want to learn how to take videos. It's like, okay, then get your phone and go start taking videos, like whether it's of yourself or things, because, you know, once you take the video, then you need to figure out how to edit the video. And it's like, and you need to just, I say teach yourself, but let's be very transparent. Between YouTube, TikTok, and everything that there is in existence, you have the capability to learn. And in a lot of aspects, learn, let's say, for less expensive or, you know, possibly free. I mean, YouTube is a great place to start, like, especially if you're looking for like a camera or something.
Right, right. No, but I think what's really nice though is I'll go on two sides of that. Because when you were talking about that, I remember someone asking me at a party when I lived in Midland, Texas, how long it took me to get my pharmacy degree. And I told them 8 years, and they were shocked and said, oh my gosh, did you know you were going to have to go that long when you went, when you started going? And it's kind of a weird thing, because I think sometimes things seem like such a big deal that we don't just take the first steps. Well, yeah, I knew I would be going for a while. However, I'm interested and I want to learn about these things, right? So I took my first math class, core math, you know, I took 5 history classes, and all of these times that you're moving forward and you're doing the core value work of whatever you're doing, it doesn't always seem as magnificent as the dream. So that's why it's really important to be clear in the dream and understand that those steps do take you there. And there's so much you can do on your own. After, a lot of people still ask me how to get in functional medicine thing. So after that, you seek out your own education. And I could seek out, I hear this like kind of options, is I could seek out something where I'm putting in more legwork and I'm still learning. It'll take me longer, it'll take more effort, and I can still get there. So if you want to do your digital journey like that, you totally can. And when I went to, you know, an elite functional medicine program with mentors that totally advanced and expanded my journey so quickly within an amount of time, I had so much more understanding and kind of a quantum leap. So weirdly, I guess I'm kind of sneaking in a quantum leap into what we're doing with your Digital Bliss, because I do really believe that you will be able to get there so much more quickly and with so much more empowerment when you have the resources lined up, when you have the course curriculum and the assignments that keep you doing those little steps to move forward. So I am really proud of that. And what Kat's saying about the skill sets for everything else, bro, right now there are online certification programs, Coursera, and like, that's just one of the ones I saw come across. There's all types of, you know, low cost degrees, low cost education that allow you to build skills. And I would also say, when you list those skills, I bet, like Kat was saying, you have things that are skills that you're not recognizing as skills, as, you know, your pattern recognition or your communication style or your problem solving abilities or your ability to create an energy to hold space for events. That's something that is its own thing that people don't always think about. There are so many skills that you already have, so you don't have to delay. And then when you have them all listed, what Kat's saying, you can fill in gaps easy with the extra education and with the extra little pieces, however you want. It's kind of exciting, honestly.
Yeah. And I think it really leads to, there's so many people that are like, oh, I have to figure everything out. And don't get me wrong, my BFF is like the planner of planners of planners, right? But I think that sometimes you need to have that leap of faith prior to being like, everything's planned out perfectly. I think one of the second most common questions that people get, and I think there's like, and I personally think this question um, is based in more of like fear. Like, okay, so I'm going to leave my 9 to 5, which could be like a steady paycheck, could be a steady W-2 form. And, how do I make this lifestyle work for me? How do I like make digital nomad lifestyle work, leave my 9 to 5? And I think you could go 2 ways with this. So I'm going to answer one. You don't necessarily actually have to fully leave your 9 to 5. Maybe you do have to find a different company to work for, but there are still quite a few companies that do allow to have a remote workforce or a digital workforce. So if that is something that is, you're like, this is what I really like, and I'd like to, do this. I mean, I say, just start looking. Like, I know this is going to sound real hippy dippy and woo woo, so prepare yourselves, but put it in the universe. Like, this is what I do. I want to find a similar position or something that I love that is very similar and that I can do, but I can do it from anywhere, right? What are some of the recommendations that you have when you hear questions like that?
Well, if Kat sounded a little woo-woo, I'm going to sound woo-woo, woo-woo, woo, woo-woo, something like that. Truthfully, the reason that I can say what I'm about to say is because I have experienced the truth of it. If I actually said this to a client today, if I hadn't personally experienced the truth of what this is, I would feel very uncomfortable believing, hearing any of it. If you believe that you can walk on water, your feet won't go through the surface of the water. Like, you will be able to do the impossible thing if you have no doubt. And that seems like a really big statement, but I've had friends that I've had my whole life telling me, this is unrealistic. That's unrealistic. Jenna, your entire life is unrealistic. And the only explanation that I can have is scientifically true, that what you envision, you can intuitively produce. And that's why I started the company. That's how I got to a point that Kat and I were speaking over coffee and having such a badass life that we couldn't imagine not sharing it and not giving those first steps. And that's not something that I imagined the specific place. So I think the first step is carrying on from when you have your values, is living those values forward and saying, in my 9 to 5 and what I'm doing right now, are those values aligned? And at what level? Can I find a way to make them more aligned? And as you do that, you will start drawing your own path. If you will align with what feels best to your soul, to your body, when you're at your current lifestyle, see how many of your values are lining up and what you can do to line up some more of those values. Once you see the skill sets that are written out, you have the values that you're living and being aware of every single day, understanding what that feels like for you, then you can really transition pretty easily. It'll be different for everyone. If you've got any savings whatsoever, give yourself like a little goal limit. And as soon as you hit it, make the moves. That feels really good to a lot of people. For me, really, I can't say anything other than the values, living them day by day and aligning more and more, because opportunities start to appear out of nowhere. The opportunities that appear will be so aligned with what is best for you. If you can get yourself in a plan that gives you 3 to 6 months, you could identify something sellable, whether it's a service or otherwise. You can create something simple. So you have online presence. If we're working digital, you can create a simple online presence of any sort. And that can be a source that you continue to build as a freedom point. And I think that's important now in our digital age, to just be aware that if you're looking to have your full freedom away from any type of outside connection as far as administration over you, that there's always that opportunity to create your persona, that your skill set is offered as part of a digital marketplace. I think that's something that's really important that people don't always understand, can be so simple. We at Visionary Intuitive Productions have a program called Quantum Branding Intensive because it helps you own your own brand and live in this lifestyle. If you are wanting to get a job online and continue on, then that's just do it, right? Like that's Kat's advice right there. Just do it. But if you're wanting to make a bigger shift, which you might, just thinking about your values, let those values guide you, trust in yourself completely. And if you doubt it, wait till you don't doubt it. And if you want to test it so you can prove it to yourself, because you will every time. Like there's never been a time that I went into something full-hearted that I came out with less. There are things that I've gone into half-hearted that I've come very damaged from. So I think that I can't overemphasize the value side of things. I think people always like, I know what my values are. I know. If you really list that out and stay in front of it, these other transitions become a lot easier. And think about what you might miss too, because I think a lot of times we think about, I don't want to be around this and that and the other, but we don't think about the benefits that our current situation has because we chose it to begin with.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's something that you were thinking about, and I know that this is kind of a couple months back, but there was like this, I don't want to say trend, but we'll be honest. It was a trend where it was like, ask ChatGPT, what is my ideal day and what is this? And I would really say, like, back to the woo-woo and the like, you know, whatever you want to say, is that if this is something that you are truly, truly interested in, and you're like, I don't want to say you need to be miserable where you're at, but let's say you want more freedom or you want it. And I always go back to a conversation I had with somebody in one of the programs that I was in, where she said, I don't really want to like travel the world. I just want to be able to go spend a week with my mom and still be able to work and still be able to get things done. And, you know, obviously that means that her value set includes family is very important to her, you know? So I always tell people, think about what your ideal day looks like. Think about what your ideal week looks like and be honest. Maybe you're like, okay, I really want to have a traditional, and I use that term, you know, where my child attends regular public school, but all summer long, I don't want to have to stay in one particular place. And I was listening to a Gary Vee TikTok this morning where he was talking about some people are so like holding on to things, like just holding on to something that they truly believe that either they had to have or was keeping up with the Joneses or whatever. And if, let's say, for you to have this more digital life, it means that, i.e., you need to be willing to Airbnb the home that you own out for 3 months or 4 months while you're not there, you know, or it means maybe you don't have that home, maybe you rent, or, you know, look at all the options that are available to you. Because I think when you really start to, and I'm going to use the term, expand your mind about like, hey, this is what's available for me. And this is a roundabout way to be like, this really goes back to what are your values? What do you hold so dear, right? And I know you and I have discussed this because I have like the 2 backpack packing philosophy where like, if I'm going for like 3 days or 5 days, I can get it into 2 bags. I can get it into 2 backpacks if I'm working really hard, but I'm like a carry-on and a backpack person. And I remember I went to a conference with a channel manager and she was like, you packed for the whole thing in that itty bitty bag? And I was like, yeah, what do I need? I need clothes and like 3 pairs of shoes. What all are you bringing with you?
No, it's the first time I ever went anywhere, I was 23 and I went on a legislative trip to DC and I'd never packed and been on an airplane or anything before. And I brought so many uncomfortable shoes. I looked cute. I got into a lot of meetings, but I was miserable and I had huge bags on the train and it was awful. And it's interesting that you put all this together with value. I'm kind of proud of myself right now because as I'm thinking of it, we realized that with all that we had done for our well-being and community business and things that we had done on the ground, that our value of that true integrity and community of family time, I was seeing my kids very little, truthfully, running through the business life and the football and the normal type of thing. And for us, we looked at, is this really the family values that are important to us? Is this aligned with it? So at that point, we started just getting rid of extra stuff and making space. We used the Marie Kondo method and just started making space. So it's really interesting, as you were talking, I was like, you're actually walking through exactly how to do it. When you start making more space, you start to realize that the things you might have placed value on might have just been holding your energy and keeping you from having that open energy towards something else. So then we went from 2 cars to 1 car. And we realized, well, this is cool. We're just hanging out together more. And then we were traveling back and forth a lot. And we were in a place where we had been invited to do full retreats, and we were needing to go back and forth more. And in Midland at the time, there was a huge housing boom, I guess. So like we got an offer on our house. We were not planning on selling our house. It was not in the cards. It was not something we thought about. But since we'd already been following those values, since we'd already been putting those values into our life, when that came across the table, I can still remember across the table, standing at my kitchen table with my husband, and we looked at each other, and it took us, we could see it in each other's eyes. We're just like, should we do it? That we can always come back. We don't have to own something. And I think that might be a conceptual thing. You don't have to own something to be able to be somewhere. You can always belong to a community without taking the colonialist view of, if I don't own everything around me, it doesn't matter, right? So I think there is something really freeing about that. And it's one of the best decisions. We always talk about, like, oh my gosh, do you remember how much stuff was in our garage after we cleaned our garage? Do you remember how much stuff we had? And now we talked about this because we're on the same page here. My kids and I were about to go to Malaysia with a bag and a carry-on each, because we have everything we need. We really do, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny because, I like to throw names out or quotes of like people who are famous or people that people follow. And I was watching something with Bethany Frankel, who, I get it. She owns 3 homes, but there was an interesting thing that she said, and I would be lying if I told you I knew exactly where I saw it. But she said, I think the first 50 years of your life, you spend time getting all these things. And she's like, and then you spend the rest of your life being like, I didn't want that. I really didn't need that, like getting rid of stuff. And I can't
tell you how much I've given away, and I still have things to give away. I've been giving shit away for 7 years, as much, gave all my clothes away to a village. We gave our refrigerator, we gave everything that we sold our, what do you call it? The rower to the gym when we were passing through, like everything that we had, I can remember the things, but then what's crazy is I'll have like a ring from my first birthday. Like, where did this come from? Right? The universe is so weirdly, beautifully perfect. You will always have, if abundance isn't clear, you need to get clear on it, because you always have way more than you need. You can't even look at all the stuff you've got that you have. Like, it's when you make the new space, something new comes in. And what's really cool about human well-being is it supports a digital nomad lifestyle in this way. We love and are fulfilled by adaptability and novelty. So as we get new stuff and adapt to it, so making the space keeps it from getting crowded. That's how I think about it.
Yeah, no, I love that, because it kind of leads into, all of this kind of, I guess we'll put the ribbon on it, so to speak, is that, one of the most common questions we get is, okay, so what do I do for work? Like, what do I do? Like, what can I do? And I'm like, and you and I are both really more in the consultative space, but it's really like, so what don't you want to do for work? Like, you have options, whether that option is, let's say, there are some countries that are specifically looking for Americans who speak English to work with other Americans, but who they want to be physically located there, whether that's London, Spain, wherever, it gives you options, right? And then, there's a ton of contract work out there, whether that means that you're working on, and I don't know why I can't think of the one. I know it starts with U. I can think of Fiverr, but I can't think of the other one.
Upwork?
Upwork. Yeah, Upwork. you know, or like, I mean, obviously going back, you know, you definitely have influencers, you definitely have UCG content, you definitely have that as an option.
Well, and if you have any service, a very simple website and your own contacts is the same as starting a small candy shop in your hometown. I think that we really need to get our minds around the fact that this is the same thing as opening a small business anywhere if you do have that capacity. And like Kat was saying, baristas around the world, you could be a barista around the world if you're cool with doing that, right? There are lots of tech jobs that are in specific other countries that want Americans. Same thing with copywriting type of reviewing texts and things that you wouldn't necessarily think about. And everywhere in the world has a full community everywhere you go. So any job you can think of, that's where Kat was saying, like, what don't you want to do? Start there and then see how the regulations wherever you want to go are. I will tell you that as someone who has been kind of like travel hopping, there's people who are cleaning the outside railings at a wellness resort, and they're Americans and they're on a work trade. There are all kinds of random things that are there. So there's always something. What I definitely, and I think what makes this so doable when you have the spirit of an entrepreneur, you don't even have to be that full thing, but having that entrepreneurial spirit is understanding that you have value and that you will be valued wherever you are. And that confidence is what starts it.
No, and I would even say to that, like, it's having the spirit of adventure, having the spirit of, okay, so what can I do, you know, versus like, and I mean, I guess this really gets into the mindset moment that we're going to talk about here in a minute, but understanding that it's, you know, maybe you do need to look in a new lane. Maybe you do need to pivot, but it's understanding, here's my skill set. I'm absolutely worthy. I'm absolutely deserving. I absolutely bring something to the table. Now, what can I bring to the table and how do I want to get from point A to point B? You know,
the functional part of it, right? And that is where it helps to have some guidance, because a lot of times when we see inside of ourselves, I have a client I spoke to this morning who has so much, oh my goodness, things she's creating and already has created. And every now and then we get inside of ourselves and think, oh, I don't know, what about this? And would that be better than this? And having some functional guidance from the outside that says, you know, whether it's through your tech, hey, this is the stack that's best, and this is how you can be confident in the stack. And I can say, hey, this is for your wellness and mindset. This is how you can be confident. So where two or more are gathered, it's true, right? And any type of energetic truth, scientific truth, spiritual truth, where two or more are gathered, it's true. So having that mentor relationship to amplify, to give you the full belief to knock that doubt out so you can walk on water, I think is a really powerful step in being able to really jump without that little kind of bit of hesitancy behind you as well.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to take, so over kind of the last couple episodes, and there's an episode that we've recorded but hasn't come out yet, I've really been talking about solutions, because I am somebody, and I guess this will be my authentic and transparent self. Like, I feel kind of like I'm in the in-between right now. And when I mean the in-between, it's like, I don't want to use the term stuck, but it's figuring exactly how do I want to move forward. And I know life is a cha-cha. So somebody got to take a step back, you got to take a step forward, however that is. But it's twofold. So for our mindset minute today, I wanted to really talk about solutions with you. And I wanted to talk about like really like clearing your blocks, expanding your mindset, because we're in June, people. It's Pride Month. I know y'all can't see my shirt, but it's Pride Month. And we're halfway through the year. So we're at that midway point. And let's say you have been killing it. You're still halfway through the year. So how do you continue that momentum going on? And let's say maybe this year hasn't gone exactly how you transpired, how you wanted it to go. It hasn't gone how you want, you know, or, you know, let's say you happen to live somewhere that is a little chaotic and it's a little like difficult to be like, okay, I don't even know what prices are going to be 10 minutes from now. So how do I figure that out? So I really wanted to come on here and kind of get your thought process about like, what are some ways that people can, number one, protect their peace, number two, stay abundant, also known as abundance, even when things feel like chaotic or uncertain, or you kind of feel like, choppy waters. Like I know we always hear, what makes a great captain of a ship or a great sailor is not smooth and calm waters, it's choppy waters. But when you're in it, you're like, okay, guys, I would take some smooth sailing,
right.
Like, I could handle some smooth sailing. I don't need to be the best captain of this boat.
Well, it's so funny because I wasn't trying to come on here with my old, I was raised evangelical. I'm a very spiritual and non-defined type of girl right now, and forever really. But the funny thing is, just like the walking on water, we have the story about the storm in the boat. And the point that really resonates with that is when you have a true firm foundation, when you are rooted in your values, when you really have done that self-reflection and you own your brand intensively with yourself and your life, it seems like a lot. But then when the storms come and they're choppy, I think you might be in a better place than you realize, because you still never doubt that the smooth waters are coming. Mm-hmm. And as long as you never doubt that the smooth waters are coming, you'll continue to move forward. And I think it's when we get distressed and, oh, it's a storm, oh my gosh, what? When you're scared, you're dumb. And it's so mean and direct to say, and it's so scientifically true, is when you're scared, you're dumb. So if you feel scared, realize, hey, I'm a little dumb right now. It's okay. It's fine. Mm-hmm. I'm going to find another place. And what's really interesting about this is preventative, kind of like we do preventative care in well-being. The way to be a good sailor under those conditions is not to wait to have a steady mind until you get in those conditions and figure it out. The way to do it is to every day do the stuff I love to remind everyone is the meditation is necessary if you hope to have an organized and smooth sailing type of mind. Meditation is necessary. Thinking about moving, a lot of times we just don't move very much. It's just not scheduled in unless we go work out for an hour. I think scheduling in time to move your body and allow that chemistry reset to utilize yourself to care for yourself is a bigger mindset boost than we really realize. 5 minutes of stretching can do miracles. For when you're moving, then your body doesn't have that tenseness to react. It makes a biological difference in how you're responding. And really get off of digital for a while every so often. I think we are so digitally connected. We're so plugged in, and it's such a beautiful benefit. But I think sometimes the comparison, the what can I do, the I should be doing something, there's always something more to go, can keep you from feeling truly inspired to get through the tough times because you're focusing on the tough times. A lot of times when you're solving a problem, my grandpa was an engineer and I've been problem solving. I love it. I love to find something difficult. It's the same one thing that I do with the chemistry and natural biology and figuring out what the best path for life is and all that stuff. Looking at that uncertainty, the puzzle, as an exciting thing. When you buy a puzzle, it's exciting that you don't know where the pieces are and that at the end you see a picture that wasn't there before. Mm-hmm. And so if you can reframe when you're in your meditation, when you're stretching, to realize that as I stretch myself, I grow, I become stronger, I become more resilient, and really being able to say every time that something challenging in the old words happens, instead you look at it as like, oh my gosh, what a gift. What up level is happening from this? How much can I get done today? How many people could I connect with today? And doing that along with having some sort of a networking group that comes with you everywhere, an online group of support, that's key, so that you're always having something to ground into as part of that community of belief in your values and your skill set and what's moving forward. So meditation, movement, taking a break from tech sometimes, and using that uncertainty as an opportunity and asking things like questions that would generate something like, how can I, what would I, how could this happen, right? And then keeping your support system. So I think those six-ish things are a really good way to practically, functionally, like with this clarity, not get stuck.
Mm-hmm. No, and I love that. There's something that you said, and not to, point out the thought process, is sometimes when you're like in it, you can't really see the whole, like you're seeing the tree, not the forest around it, right? And so I really think that if you're in a decision-making process, is don't make a decision from a point of stress. Make a decision from, I always say, like, it's kind of twofold. Like, I really like to say that you need to listen to your intuition and you need to listen to your gut. The caveat to that is I also think that it never hurts when you feel like you are staring at the tree and you really can't see the forest to say, hey, here's what's going on with someone that, obviously you have a trusted relationship with, that you feel like will lead you in the right way, and to ask for, I say help, but to ask for like advice and help, and maybe they can help you see something that you can't see straight out the gates.
And I would say that just always with clarity in that, there's a way that you can make sure that that doesn't become that outside seeking. And that way is to whatever you're asking advice on, there will be a specific underlying value or skill set that the advice is about. And make sure that the person that you're asking has, in your eyes and your perception, gotten ahead of you in that aspect. You'll have different friends who are ahead in different ways. You'll have different mentors who are ahead in different ways. Mm-hmm. But whatever that value or underlying skill set that you are hoping to gain advice or guidance on, make sure that it's not just the comfortable friend that will comfort you into not moving forward or not, you know what I'm saying? Like, be honestly strategic with that. Yeah. And I'll also put on the side note here, anytime, this is one of those personal experiences where I probably wouldn't believe how profound it could be, is when you feel really, really stuck, go to the beach, go dancing, go do something that's completely away. And when you come back, it will be solved, promise, and solved better than you would have done it. So there is that little freedom, that detox, stepping away, that feels a little hard to trust in. However, if you've got that base of, I could walk on water, I trust in my values that I've set up so much, my skill set that I've set up so much, that becomes easier and easier. So it's kind of silly that it's these very few repetitive, consistent concepts, but isn't that nice? Like, if you just, it's a very clear path forward.
Yeah. No, and there was a thing when you said, make sure that you're talking to the person that is, you trust, that, I mean, I want to say they might say the uncomfortable thing that you may need to hear at that moment. I'm going to give my caveat is, if you are looking at somebody and they're giving you advice and you're staring at their life, and let's break it out. Maybe there's aspects, like we all know people that like excel in like a professional aspect, maybe, and maybe they're not so great with the family aspect or something like that. But let's say when you're seeking advice, then you're going to talk to them about what's professional versus be like, hey, I need help with my family,
right?
Yeah. And I know that it's an age old, I've heard it a ton of times from a ton of different people. Like, if you do not admire their life and you don't want that, then don't ask them for advice.
I think this is really important because it kind of clarifies on top of what we just said. I think it's really important because even if dude L has everything else, but he's a cheater, liar, even if chick F has everything else, but she doesn't take care of herself or well-being, and they have other things that you could get advice from, you can still get that advice, but you have to filter it. So I guarantee you there is someone who has been at that level of success and is well-rounded authentically. You might have to, give your energy some more space to find it instead of clicking on clickbait and the first thing that comes up. You feel into who that person is or what that entity of connection is. But I think that's a really, really good point, because the advice that you give in one sphere, it's kind of like taking a drug for high blood pressure and not thinking about what it's going to do to the rest of your body and the rest of your system. Everything that you do as far as taking in advice, lifestyle practices, anything, is going to add into the whole of who you are and shift everything around, which is kind of weirdly why quantum lifestyle consulting exists, because there are so many aspects that we need to encompass all of those ways. But I do think that that's a really good point to make, is if you're looking at someone and you're like, ugh, then don't invite the conversation. Don't invite it into your life. It has to be that's 100. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the follow-up to that would be, if somebody gives you advice, and let's just say like you're talking to them about, hey, I want to start my business. And the advice that they give you is like, oh, well, you need to have a year's worth of salary saved up before you even do that. And in your brain, not saying it's impossible, but you can't even like that seems overwhelming. Number one, I promise you, there is something you can do today that will move you forward in the right direction. And that was actually discussed recently in one of the episodes I had, and I really fought with it because I do value this person's opinion. But I can tell you right now, I would not have started my business if I had to have an entire year's worth of my salary saved up, because, and here's where we talk about everything in perfect timing, because if that had been what I had been waiting for, I'm not sure that that would have come. Whereas I started maybe a little bit on a hope and a prayer and a dream, but things, they work themselves out, right?
I was just thinking about, like, even if it's just talking about it every day, because how I started, the first thing is I didn't think about the fact I didn't have any funding. I didn't think about the fact that I was starting from zero. All I thought about is I have to give this to the world. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I got funding to open my business without asking for it, just by talking about what I was doing and having someone be so interested that was how my first, real on the ground business started. So I think it's really interesting to think that even if all you're doing is clarifying the values and talking about them all the time, that's enough.
Yeah. Well, and I say sometimes you got to start messy. You just start somewhere, right?
Usually.
I mean, I would use another term, but I can't use it because it's copyrighted, but it's one of my favorite terms to talk about. Feel free to DM me. I'll let you know, but
you could just say like, do the dang thing. Like,
like do it, just do it. Like do something, whether, and I think the same thing goes whether you want to start a podcast, or you want to start doing content or whatever it may be, I don't know why, and this is very much a side note, but I was thinking about the fact that I know somebody who wanted to start their YouTube channel, and they were trying to get sponsorships, and they were like, I didn't know what to do. So what I did was I literally went to people's websites and I just started sending request letters to info@ blah, 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 info@ blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure I'm hitting in people's Zendesk, but this particular person was like, you know what? I don't remember if it was 100. I don't remember if it was 200, but I started getting replies that were like, like, we need this, this, and this. And that was what helped him to make that plan, because they were like, we need to know what your reach. We need to know what you're about. We need to know this. And it helped him like create it to where, obviously this person is way more successful now, has a great YouTube thing, but it's the starting here to get to here, right?
Well, I like how you said obviously, because it is obvious that if you just do that and move forward with clarity, you'll always succeed. However, if you move forward with clarity, you won't suffer your success. You'll be able to enjoy your success.
Yeah. And you enjoy the journey, right? Like,
oh, it's so fun.
When you're in it, sometimes you're not enjoying it as much. But the truth is that I have spoken with people who I love and adore who are like, well, I can't do it because it's not going to be perfect and it's going to be messy. Dude, start messy. It's not going to be perfect. It's a skill set. It's like, I will never forget the first time I was on TV. And I very transparently will tell you that sometimes when I do interviews, I just kind of like, I do them and I can't remember what I said, but I know I was there. And I remember being so nervous. And they're going to edit that bad boy. It couldn't have been more than like 15 to 30 seconds, right? And it was on a little TV station in a little bitty town. And like, I was just like, oh, but you just got to do it. Like you can't get to point Z if you don't start at point A. Right.
So it's like the Barbie movie. So, in the Barbie movie, like to get some, and I really think this is like travel too. I feel like I'm going through portals. I'm not actually like on the train and the boat, but there's like an order of operations to get where you want to go, right? First the train, then the boat, then the plane, then the car, whatever it is. And so just to get to the end destination, it might sound like me getting here to the little town I'm in Spain. It's like flight, car, train, bus, like it's these little things. But as long as you got on the plane, well, then you'll be able to get on the train. Mm-hmm. And as long as you get on the train, you'll be able to get on the other train. But if you don't ever get on the plane, there you are. And it's so simple to think about. However, when you kind of want to be in a whole new timeline, you've got to get in the portal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know what? I could talk to you for hours. We could just keep going, but we don't want to have a 3-hour podcast. So first off, I want to say today was fuego. It was on fire. We went from energy drinks to energy shifts to talking about opening your mindset, starting the plan. I hope we gave you lots to marinate with about digital nomad, about whatever you want to do in your life. And if in your gut, you hear that pull, like let's move forward. Like, this is your nudge, like, do it. You don't need permission. You just need to start somewhere, have a plan, get a little support. I, of course, will highly recommend you check out #YourDigitalBliss, which is the course that myself and Dr. Jenna W. Clack, not back, of course, designed to help simplify your tech, protect your mindset, and start your journey, of course, on your own terms. And I want to give Jenna a chance to talk about, of course, VIP before we end today's.
Well, I've never felt more sure that you can truly envision and intuitively produce the lifestyle of your dreams now. That was the concept when we put the overarching consulting company together over 5 years ago. And it has proven to be a true concept that I'm really excited to be able to offer to anyone who feels the call to really live your fullest life. You can check out visionaryintuitiveproductions.com. We have functional spirit science to reach your ultimate wellness. And we also have quantum branding intensive to create your own measure of success, own your own life intensively. That's strength from within. And those are our core programs to help you envision and intuitively produce this life. Visionaryintuitiveproductions.com. I'll see you over there.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you, Jenna, of course, for being on here today. And of course, next time we will have some new tequila to taste. We'll have a shot for everybody. And of course, I want you all to stay curious, stay bold, stay caffeinated. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe, rate, share this episode with your fellow adventurers, fellow, techie enthusiasts, and tag us on Instagram, especially if you decide to sip gorgy from this. But I'm Kat Lopez Shelby, your techie chica, and this has been an episode of Tech and Tequila. Catch you on the road or in your earbuds. Adios.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.